39 that we're rethinking is the 39% of US energy consumption that's attributed to the built environment. We feel like we can be a solution for every home that we sell, even existing homes that aren't great, because after the point of sale, at the very least, we can get them to mass save and start to do air sealing and insulation upgrades to their home. And who knows, maybe they'll move forward to heat pumps and PV in the future as well. But we're very committed as a team to slashing carbon one building at a time, and we're really excited about our engagement with consumers out there. But again, this isn't like new stuff or anything. Here's a great example of S&P 500 companies that started to do voluntary reporting, corporate sustainability reports. And you can see over this 6-year period, a huge growth from 2011 to 2016, that companies were realizing that engaging their stakeholders, sustainability and looking at a sustainable future was a critically important part of their company mantra. On top of that, we're seeing numbers. This is numbers from a marketing firm called the Shelton Group that National Association of Realtors uses quite a bit. Suzanne Shelton runs a company in Tennessee that does a lot of high-level analysis on consumer engagement on this topic. And last year, one of the pieces that she threw out was 74% of U.S. consumers are basing purchasing decisions on a company's environmental reputation. 74% are basing purchasing decisions based on a company's environmental reputation. That's a pretty compelling number, and something that we're thinking a lot about at my company and at National Association of Realtors about how we engage consumers in a new and alive way. And we're not the only trade organization that's thinking about this. Certainly the US Chamber, it will never be, nobody will point the finger at the US Chamber saying that they're a bunch of liberal leftist socialists that are engaged in the marketplace. And in September 2019, they made a pretty abrupt about face on the topic of climate change. And have laid it out pretty clearly on their website that inaction is no longer an option for the US Chamber. That was a real driver for my trade organization to take a new look at how we can engage the public in a completely different way. And we all know, this has been pointed out a couple of times here in the Commonwealth, there is certainly a political will to start to move this ball forward. And there's no question that Brookline, their town meeting vote, 211-3 to ban natural gas and new construction in that town was a driver. There's no question about it. We know it was already mentioned that Attorney General Healy voted that down because we have a state building code and this would have overran that. So now there's a lot of work going on with the new climate plan that's moved forward twice in the last month to look at legislation to allow several communities in the Commonwealth that would choose to do this to have a net zero energy stretch code for new construction. I'm pretty excited about that opportunity. I'm very proud that the community that I live in Melrose would seriously consider this if it moves through the legislature, which it has 2 times, and if Governor Baker decides to sign off on it in the end. So there's no question that this movement towards a sustainable future that we've seen in the business world and now is coming to communities here in the Commonwealth is very strong. It's very clear. Even though there are members of my trade organization that have trouble with some of these issues, the reality is that there's a movement here that we have to look forward and embrace because there's just a political will that's very, very clear right now. So what do we see in the marketplace? Well, there's no question that we see developers, and we're lucky enough to represent these developers in the marketplace that are building way beyond code, delivering superior products. Cindy, I was happy to see in your presentation, the building on the top in Western Massachusetts was highlighted. This is a LEED Platinum home, 7,600 square feet. would have met passive house requirements if we had decided to go down that road. 14.72 kW solar PV system, HERS score of 19. Luxury home. The units on the right were homes that I sold in 2018 in the Fort Hill section of Roxbury. Those were 4 condos and 2 buildings that were net energy positive. So not only were they net zero, but they were regenerative, that they produced more energy than they were supplying to the grid. They had HERS scores -14 to -22. The great thing about that was under the Massachusetts incentive program. Under the Massachusetts incentive program, those homeowners had the opportunity, if they chose to own their portion of the solar PV system, that the incentive was so strong, it paid for their homeowner association fees for the first 10 years of their ownership in that system through the SREC program. That was pretty compelling for the home buyers that were looking at properties when we sold these in 2018. In fact, we were competing with a code-built home down the street that was built to stretch code levels because it's the city of Boston, so an efficient home. And we were worried because they were listed at $375 a square foot. Our homes were listed at $450 a square foot, which we knew would appraise out if we had the appraisers that have gone through the Valuation of Sustainable Buildings program at the Appraisal Institute. But would buyers see that value of an extra 75 a square foot? I'm really pleased to say that all 4 of our units sold before 2 of the 7 units sold down the street. So the market is seeing that there's a value proposition here that is unique, and certainly in the greater Boston marketplace, we're seeing a movement towards that. We're seeing buyers that are engaged. I put a property in Somerville under agreement yesterday, signed a purchase and sales agreement that was a high performance, that is a high performance building, a 2-family that was retrofitted. My buyers are very excited. It has a 7.14 kW solar PV system on the rooftop, along with very efficient building envelope. And that solar PV system is divided with ownership interest between the 2 condos. So that's really great. This picture on the left, I teach classes for real estate agents, and I ask class members, do you think that this was a home I sold in Reading in 2019, the guy with the infrared camera that's looking at the R value of the home, or looking at the leaks, possible heat leaks in a home, do you think that this guy is a home inspector, or do you think I was lucky enough in this pretty aggressive seller's market that I was able to get an energy assessment done on the home as part of the due diligence period? And the realtors go back and forth, and they're seeing more home inspectors with IR cameras now, so they think it's the home inspector. Well, they're wrong. That's actually my buyer that showed up with an IR camera to take a look at if the home had any evidence of it leaking. So we're seeing that buyers are terribly engaged about this stuff, particularly here in Massachusetts, right? Because we have a very volatile power market. Energy costs are high. There is certainly an awareness of our own environmental footprint and our own individual responsibility. And for comfort and health reasons, people are making these very smart choices. And we're also, believe it or not, seeing lenders understand this value proposition as well. So Freddie Mac has a great new product in the marketplace called Green Choice Mortgages. In Fannie Mae, these are both part of the GSE, so that's the secondary mortgage market. Fannie Mae has a product called Homestyle Energy. Now, what we're trying to do through Greater Boston Association of Realtors, my local association, we sponsored a green loan roundtable for our lender affiliates at Greater Boston Association of Realtors, so they were aware of these products in the marketplace. And it's tough to get lenders in the room for anything right now. As you know, interest rates are incredibly low. For my buyers that signed a purchase and sales agreement yesterday in Somerville, they're getting an interest rate for a 15-year mortgage of 2.35%. I mean, this is virtually free money. So lenders don't really have a lot of reason to get in the room to think about new mortgage products, but I was really excited that our Green Loan Roundtable was full of lenders that were looking at these products very seriously. And I think the big eye opener for them was Green Choice Mortgage. That Freddie Mac product is really good for, they actually fund resiliency improvements. So if you're near the ocean and you need to put your home on stilts, we have mortgage products that can start to deal with that from, because we know that there's a changing climate and that's going to affect the mortgage industry. So we need to have products that serve those kinds of situations. And the other thing that our team is finding and our firm is finding is that people are really paying attention to this stuff. So two of my team's homes in the last year were featured as the Globe Home of the Week. The one on the left was certified through a existing home green certification program called Pearl Certification. It's coming here in the Northeast. It's perfect for existing homes that are doing air sealing, insulation work, adding heat pumps. That was Pearl Gold certified, and then the project in Weston, which is a LEED Platinum project. So we see that people are really paying attention to this stuff in the media and consumers. Here's a home in Salisbury, Massachusetts. I know the homeowner, in which they built a high-performance home. And they put a power plant on their rooftop. As you can see, that power plant is producing income for the homeowners. I want you to just quickly run through your mind for a second and write down three numbers for me and add them up together. Now, I'm not going to call you out. I'm not going to green shame you or anything, but write down these three numbers for me. One is the amount that you spent in the last year to heat your home. So just take a guess. Obviously that's winter months. What do your bills look like during the winter? Rough idea for the last year. That's item number one. Item number two, what do you spend for your utility costs? What do you spend to Eversource, or National Grid, or your Muni, right? So in the summer, your electricity bills tend to go up if you've got air conditioning. So give me a rough number for the full year. Put that as the second number. The third number, and I've noticed, this is really exciting, Ken, that I've noticed several real estate agents are on tonight as well. So I'm really excited about that. So you realtors that are out there, right? You're running around all day long with your car. What does it cost you? Try to come up with a rough number for me to run the vehicle that you use for your real estate day. How many times do you go to the gas station? Is it once a week? Is it 3 times every 2 weeks? What does it cost you to go fill up? Gas prices are low, so that's good, right? Get a month, multiply that by 12. So you've got 3 annual numbers now. Add those together. These folks have an electric vehicle. All of their heating and cooling, it's done through air source heat pumps. All of the gadgets, appliances, heat pump water heater. They spent $434 for the entire year, including their electric vehicle. Compare that to your number. Now, there is no question that there's a value proposition there for homeowners out there. So that's the business case for sustainability, right? I just want to end with what the moral case is as well, because we know, all of us on this call, we're not stupid. We know that this decade is critical to dealing with some of this stuff. We know that policy and markets are changing before our very eyes. And, so I ask you to think about what you need, what you think your home is going to need to look like in 2025 or 2030 to keep up with the marketplace, because this stuff is happening, whether we like it or not. But I ask you to think about that moral case as well, which is, I think, even more critical. We've got to tackle this problem. It starts in Lexington with the state of Massachusetts. Fortunately, we've got great legislators, like I think I saw Mike Barrett on, who's leading the charge. The Fed, we've got a change of administration at the national level. that's moving the ball forward on this stuff. We know that this is happening. And there's never a better place to start a revolution than Lexington, Massachusetts. So that's kind of where I want to end it, Ken, right there. But we're seeing this in the marketplace. There's no question about it.